Hey guys, it's your girl Masaka. We all love a good conspiracy theory, right? Aliens, secret societies, the Earth being flat. Okay, maybe not that last one. But seriously, some of this stuff is wild. But what's even wilder is when these crazy theories turn out to be true. From government cover-ups to secret experiments, some conspiracy theories turned out to be true. I mean, can you imagine finding out something you thought was totally bonkers was actually happening all along? In this video, we're diving deep into 10 conspiracy theories that sound like they're straight out of a movie. But guess what? They're 100% real. Okay, so first up, we've got MK Ultra. You know, that whole CIA mind control thing? Turns out, it wasn't just some crazy idea from a spy movie. They were actually doing it. Like, for real, for real. We're talking about the 1950s and 60s, during the Cold War. The CIA was freaking out about the Soviets and their mind control techniques. So they decided to get in on the action too. I mean, can you imagine being so paranoid about the commies that you start experimenting on your own people? Wild, right? They were giving people LSD, hypnosis, electroshock therapy, all sorts of messed up stuff. And they weren't just doing this to willing volunteers. Oh no, they were using prisoners, mental patients, even regular people who had no idea what was going on. It gets even darker, you guys. Some people believe that MKUltra was connected to all sorts of shady stuff, like the assassination of JFK. I mean, I don't know about all that, but it definitely makes you wonder what they were really up to, right? The craziest part is that we might never know the full truth about MKUltra. Okay, this one is seriously messed up. We're talking about the Tuskegee syphilis study. This is like the definition of unethical. For 40 years, the US government studied African American men with syphilis without ever telling them they had it. They just let these men suffer, even after they discovered penicillin could cure the disease. Can you imagine? You go to the doctor, they tell you you're in a study, you think you're getting help, but really they're just using you as a guinea pig? It's heartbreaking and infuriating all at the same time. This study, it started in 1932 and went on until 1972. That's 4 decades of deceit and suffering. The men in the study, they were promised free medical care, meals, even burial insurance, but they were never given the treatment they needed. They were lied to and exploited just because of the color of their skin. The Tuskegee syphilis study is a stain on American history. It's a reminder of how far we've come in terms of medical ethics, but also how much further we still need to go. Okay, get ready for this one because it's seriously messed up. We're talking about Project Sunshine, a government project so messed up, it makes MKUltra look like a walk in the park. So, picture this. It's the 1950s and everyone's freaking out about nuclear fallout. The government wants to know how much radiation our bodies can handle. But instead of, experimenting on lab rats or something, they decide to use human remains. I'm not kidding. They collected thousands of samples of human tissue, bones, organs, you name it, from all over the world. And they didn't always get permission from the families of the deceased. Babies, children, adults, they didn't discriminate. It's like something out of a horror movie. They wanted to see how radioactive material moved through the environment and affected human tissue. The messed up part? A lot of these bodies were taken without consent. Parents weren't told that their stillborn babies were being used in government experiments. It's just wrong on so many levels. Chapter 4, The Pentagon Papers, the leak that exposed the truth. All right, let's talk about the Pentagon Papers. This wasn't some crazy experiment or anything, but it was a massive government cover-up that rocked the US. We're talking about a top-secret study that revealed the truth about the Vietnam War. See, for years, the government had been lying to the public about how the war was going, saying we were winning when we were clearly not. But in 1971, a former military analyst named Daniel Ellsberg leaked the Pentagon Papers to the press. These papers, they showed that the government knew the war was unwinnable from the start, but kept sending troops anyway. It was a huge scandal. People were outraged that the government had lied to them for so long. The Pentagon Papers, they changed the way people viewed the war and the government. It was a turning point in American history. Chapter 5, Watergate, the scandal that took down a president. Okay, you guys remember Richard Nixon, right? The president who resigned? Well, Watergate is why. It's like something straight out of House of Cards or Scandal. It all started with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate Hotel. Sounds kind of sus already, right? Well, it turns out that the burglars were connected to Nixon's re-election campaign. The cover-up, oh my God, The cover-up was insane. Nixon and his cronies, they tried to obstruct justice, bribe witnesses, destroy evidence, the whole 9 yards. But the truth always comes out, right? The Watergate scandal showed that even the most powerful person in the world isn't above the law. It was a major blow to public trust in the government. Chapter 6. Big Tobacco lied, and people died. Okay, this one hits close to home for me, you guys. Big Tobacco, they knew for decades that cigarettes were deadly, but they kept it a secret. They lied to our faces, all to make a buck. They hired scientists to downplay the risks, ran misleading ads, even targeted kids with their marketing. It's disgusting. My grandpa, he was a smoker, and he died of lung cancer when I was younger. It makes me so angry to think that the tobacco companies knew how dangerous their product was but didn't care. They put profit over people's lives. The worst part is, they're still doing it today. They've just shifted their focus to vaping and other products. Chapter 7. This next one is about the FBI, but not the kind that catches serial killers. This is the FBI that spied on and sabotaged American citizens. It's called COINTELPRO, and it targeted civil rights groups, anti-war activists, even Black Panther members. We're talking about illegal wiretaps, spreading false rumors, instigating violence, all in the name of national security. They saw anyone who spoke out against the government as a threat. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, John Lennon, they were all targets of COINTELPRO. These were people fighting for peace and equality, and the government was trying to silence them. It's a dark chapter in American history, but it's important to remember so that it never happens again. Okay, this one is straight out of a spy thriller. Operation Northwoods was a plan cooked up by the US military during the Cold War. And get this, they wanted to stage fake terrorist attacks on American soil. I'm not kidding, they were going to blow up ships, hijack planes, even simulate Cuban attacks. Why? To justify going to war with Cuba, of course. Can you imagine if this plan had actually happened? It's terrifying to think that our own government was willing to harm its own citizens to achieve its goals. Thankfully, President Kennedy rejected the plan. But still, the fact that it was even considered is chilling. Okay, hold on to your tinfoil hats for this one, because it's a doozy. Operation Mockingbird was the CIA's alleged program to secretly influence the media. We're talking about planting propaganda, manipulating journalists, controlling the narrative. Think about it. What if the news you were reading, the shows you were watching, were all secretly controlled by the government? It's a scary thought, right? The CIA has always denied the existence of Operation Mockingbird, but there's evidence to suggest that it was very real. From the 1950s to the 1970s, the CIA used journalists, media executives, even student groups to spread their message. They wanted to shape public opinion both domestically and internationally. Last but not least, we've got the Iran-Contra affair. This scandal rocked the Reagan administration in the 1980s. It was a tangled web of secret arms deals, hostages, and illegal funding. Here's the gist. The US government was secretly selling weapons to Iran, which was under an arms embargo at the time. Why? They wanted Iran's help in releasing American hostages being held in Lebanon. But it gets even shadier. The money from the arms sales was then funneled to the Contras, a rebel group fighting the socialist government in Nicaragua. The problem was, Congress had specifically banned funding the Contras. The Iran-Contra affair was a major scandal that showed the lengths the government would go to achieve its goals, even if it meant breaking the law. So there you have it. 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. It's crazy, right? It just goes to show that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. And it makes you wonder, what other secrets are out there? What else is the government hiding from us? What do you guys think? Which one of these theories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more mind-blowing content.